Warning! This podcast contains the Queen of Hearts. What's up, everyone, and welcome to the ASOTV podcast for Once Upon a Time Rewind, Season 2, Episodes 8 and 9, Into the Deep and the Queen of Hearts. I'm your host, Dom. With me, we have Nikki and Jake. Mm-hmm. How's it going?
Mm-hmm. It's going.
Rachel's away on vacation this week. She should be back next week. So, out of these two, which one was your favorite?
Queen of Hearts. For obvious reasons.
I mean, yeah. If we have to compare Into the Deep, which was probably one of the weaker episodes of the season, to the Queen of Hearts, I'm going to pick Queen of Hearts. Okay. Because Korra.
Yep, hands down, we are all in agreement. It's a very, very big rarity on this
and Wonderland.
This podcast.
Wonderland as well, yeah.
Yep.
Just a tidbit of Wonderland.
I think part of Into the Deep had to do with the fact that there was no flashbacks.
I mean, not even that. It's just you could do episodes without flashbacks, but what you're showing us in present day has to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
I mean, we could say that the episode where Snow and Emma got sent into the Enchanted Forest didn't have flashbacks, so to say, but it was, even if it was only like an hour previous, it was still considered a flashback. Because the Wraith and them appearing would have been the beginning of the flashbacks, but we didn't find the reveal until the end. So, so technically what we were seeing in that episode, they were already there. So it was a flash forward, I believe. So this episode Into the Deep here is the first episode without a flashback or a flash forward. So,
but time works differently, so we could be looking at like whatever 2 different timelines.
Yep.
2 hours there in the Enchanted Forest could be 2 days in our world.
No, that is not true because. As we learned in this episode, Into the Deep, when they planned on meeting Henry in 2 hours, they were both on time for that. So, time runs parallel in the Enchanted Forest and our realm. Anyway, the other realms is up for debate, but these two are not. They're fairly accurate. Maybe by milliseconds they might be off, but they're still really close. But anyway, in the first episode here, Into the Deep, we deal with Korra turning on Hook. She said, right off the bat, and she's like, "Look, I've crossed too many worlds to be brought short." So I'm like, which worlds did you cross? Because from what we've seen, you were in the Enchanted Forest, you went to Wonderland, and now you're back to the Enchanted Forest. How is that too many worlds?
She's probably been to Oz.
I feel like she's been to a lot of places that she just, isn't relevant to the story.
Maybe places we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
She made it seem like that she was crossing these worlds to get here. And then we find out in the next episode how she actually got back to the Enchanted Forest. And there was a crossing of lots of worlds.
I remember that realm in Behind the Mirror.
The
she probably
glass?
Yeah.
The Looking Glass brought her to Wonderland.
Yeah, but I'm saying we've seen in their future episodes where we see that she can travel through other mirrors. So maybe she's talking about how she has to travel through this weird mirrory realm that we never really do find out what that is. But there are certainly realms that we've seen that are not that significant, but they are, they do exist.
Yeah, could be. I don't know. And then we see Hook trying to flirt with Korra.
Ew.
Even as brief of a moment as it was. I was like, really? Really, Hook? I thought you were kind of above that.
No.
Well, he's not there yet.
No, he hasn't grown past that yet. He is still trying to get his way in any way possible. So if that means flirting with the absolute evil scum of the earth, he's gonna fucking do it. As long as he gets his way.
And she's so old. She's like 35. It's like, I can't even do the arithmetic. It's gross.
35, I think she's a little bit older than that. By like 20 years.
Yeah, I don't know. So Korra decides she's not going to work with Hook anymore, leaves him there, and lets him get stranded. In the meantime, she goes back to her remote little area of the island, starts whispering into these hearts, and basically raises what appears to be an undead army, but they're not dead. They're made to look like zombies, but they're not. It's not like she was resurrecting the dead. These were the people whose hearts that she ripped out from the village a couple episodes ago. And she was controlling them, so she basically made them lie still dead. To appear dead.
And to put zombie on.
And then commanded them to rise. So, these are not the undead. This is not breaking one of the rules of magic. So.
No.
Interesting what they do with hearts in this series. Both with Regina and Korra. With Regina, who's the evil queen, how she wanted Snow White's heart. Taking that one aspect of the story and expanding upon it and making it one of like the key skills in this universe is interesting, and that's good writing. And also, the Queen of Hearts, it's obviously that's her name, but like they took it to another level of not just a deck of cards, but also literal hearts.
Yep. Yeah, because it's been like foreshadowed this whole time. Because we find out in the next episode that she is the Queen of Hearts, but up until this point, we just know that she's like the collector of hearts. Like, she's the one that we've known that started this whole removing the hearts thing.
I feel like
Rumpel?
I feel like Rumpel started.
Oh no! It was like the first dark one, wasn't it?
It was a dark one thing, but Korra took it to a whole new level.
Well, that's what I mean.
I think before they just took out hearts and crushed them, I think Korra was the one who like figured out you could like manipulate and control the people who had them.
Alex in chat says, when did you guys realize she was the Queen of Hearts? Yeah, definitely not till the Queen of Hearts episode itself. I mean, going back and watching, obviously we knew way before that, but the very first time through the show, definitely not until that episode.
Well, I started piecing the clues together when we saw the Queen of Hearts in Jefferson's episode, and that was a completely different episode from the episode we saw Korra in for the first time. And when earlier this season, when Regina pushed Korra through the looking glass, and they always say looking glass, they never said mirror, they used the term looking glass. So because I figured she was still in Wonderland.
Because the mirror is where Sydney was, the genie. So they have to differentiate there so that...
Yeah, but like looking glass, when you use that name...
that's obviously a connection to Alice in Wonderland.
So when they said that, and just, the idea of going through the looking glass, you immediately think of that story, and then you think of Wonderland. So I'm like, wait a minute, she's in Wonderland now, and we saw this woman, and I just started piecing it together, and it was just like a crack theory of mine. I'm like, maybe that's it. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But like, that's what I was thinking.
There's reading too much into Once Upon a Time. That's not. That's not a thing.
Well, sometimes we can read too much into things, and it turns out our theories that could totally work on this show turn out to not be true.
Yep.
Well, like Anastasia being Cinderella's stepsister. Yeah, I know. That's just us, wishing very, very, very hard. Like, being like, it makes so much sense. Why hasn't it been done yet? And just keeping it canon in our own heads.
Yep. And then we have Snow here, admitting that she knows all about the dream room that Aurora has been in. It has to do with the sleeping curse. Aurora starts freaking out, telling, you lied, what else are you going to lie about? And she's like, no, I was protecting you. And I was like, Snow, I don't ever want to hear you complain about other people lying to you ever again.
But you will.
I don't see how Snow not telling Aurora that she once had experienced this room before because she was in a sleeping curse is protecting her. If anything, it would help her. Like, I don't get it. Snow. Duh.
I don't know.
I mean, going back, I can see where Emma gets her poor judgment from. Like, seriously.
Yeah, it runs in the family.
Well,
it's genetics.
It definitely runs in the family.
Well, I think Emma's a bit more... she's better with that than Snow. She hasn't been around Snow, most of her life. She's only been with her for like 5 years. Up until this point, she's only been with her for about a year. Snow, you need to learn something. There needs to be a spell, and I'm trying to do a spell for this. It's a muting spell, where they just mute a person, and you don't speak. You just don't. Can we do that, please?
Yeah, go talk to Ursula.
There's not one secret that Snow cannot keep unless it involves herself.
And even then.
Mm-hmm.
And even then. But yeah, they concoct this plan for Aurora to talk to Henry to try to find out information from Rumpel on how they can stop Cora. So when Henry wakes up, talks to Regina. So Regina goes and talks to Rumpel. She finds him at Granny's Diner, where him and Belle are finally having their hamburger date.
Yeah, you guys are, a bit overdue on that.
Mm-hmm. That was like 3 episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
Where Rumpel mentions to Belle that condiments are this world's greatest magic.
Some of them.
He's not wrong.
Well, ketchup is overrated, in my opinion.
Well, do you like ketchup better than mayo or mayo better than ketchup?
Well, I hate mayo.
So
okay, so you like ketchup.
But yeah. But during this whole scene, there was one of the extras in the back that just kept turning around and staring at Belle and Rumpel. And I was like, this seems extremely out of character for one of the extras. It was really distracting to me. Like, every chance they got, they'd just, turn around and stare at
They probably weren't an extra. They just wandered onto the set. Like, who left the gate open?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's happened before, so...
They're like, why is this old, creepy-ass dude with this fine young lady? What are they doing?
Yeah, I don't know. It was really, really distracting to me.
Do you need help, honey?
But Regina says to Rumpel, I have one thing that we might be able to find some common ground on. And that is stopping Cora, who is on her way here. She's with them. So they rely on Henry to get a message back to Emma and Snow. And in the meantime, we have Aurora, who Mulan is trying to convince not to go back in there, not to help, because she has the burns on her arms, like Henry did. Except she doesn't have Rumpelstiltskin to just whisk the... Whisk.
Wow.
It
was kind of wispy.
The wounds away. But she goes, no, look. Every moment that I'm here is basically on borrowed time, because I had people help me. It's my turn to repay the favor and help other people. And I was actually really proud of Aurora at that point. I was just like, good for you, Aurora. Good for you. You're actually... This is the first time since you've been introduced that you haven't been worthless.
And then what happened?
That she was worthless. But...
it's like Philip had one episode and he's more useful than you.
No, but I still I like the sentiment of it. Like, you know, she's trying to do the right thing, and that's
Well, they
good.
were building up to an arc, and well, unfortunately, because the cast was so big, we had to focus on our main characters. That a lot of these characters do get pushed to the side, and I would actually like to see Aurora and Philip and Mulan come back.
It's possible.
Have them do something. I mean, they are tied to a villain that is considered to be one of the greatest Disney villains ever made, and they didn't do anything with her either.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, we don't really know. I know Alex in chat is saying that he's not really a fan of Once Upon a Time's Aurora. I've seen a couple of comments that her hair wasn't blonde enough, and I have to argue the fact that we don't know the character Aurora after she wakes up, really, other than in the Disney animated film where she's happy and dancing and getting
What
married.
personality did she have?
Yeah, we don't know, so we can't really base the character on that since we haven't even seen that much of her anyways. And as far as the hair color goes, Once Upon a Time has gotten hair color wrong many times in this series, so we cannot even start about hair color.
I need to remind you of like all of the hair fails in this show.
Like Ariel, her hair isn't red enough. It's more of an auburn brown color than it is red.
And then you had
Merida.
Merida Sharpie wig.
Exactly. And then you had Dark Swan's fucking crusty ass.
Stop.
Who knows
All
what
right,
the hell is in here?
we're done.
The dry
that
shampoo.
put me
she
over
left
the line.
Shampoo. She didn't wash it out. It dried in there and it got stuck. It's gross.
That is awful. No, yeah. But we didn't know much about Sleeping Beauty from the movie. How much of the movie was she even awake for?
No. So yeah, I mean, these particular episodes, it does kind of paint Aurora as still the damsel in distress, because you still have Mulan being there like, oh, I have to protect her for Philip and all this stuff, and it's not giving her her space to actually evolve and
that's why
show
I like
that
the
she's
fact
a
that
stronger character.
She was standing up for what she wanted to
Exactly.
do, what she believed in. That's what I like. And you know, it's unfortunate when she goes back into the Nether Realm to try to be helpful that she gets ripped out when Korra's army attacked, and then she gets kidnapped. So in the meantime, we have Mulan, who's still sitting there trying to protect Aurora. She wants to exchange the compass for Aurora. Snow comes up with another idea that she wants to go back into a deep sleep for the sleeping curse so she can get into the room to talk to Henry. But she needs Mulan's powder, aka the poppies, to go into a deep enough sleep to let her guard down. So this is when we journey to
Couldn't you
what's
just
left.
bash her over the head?
Maybe.
That would
I
have
think that would do us some good.
Yes.
Probably.
Mulan probably would have really enjoyed it, just saying.
So they said it's a bit of a journey, so it ended up not being a full poppy field or anything like that. It was just a couple.
I mean, there are still poppies in the Enchanted Forest.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Well, it's a common flower.
It is. But not in the Enchanted Forest.
I guess not.
It's rare, but it's a decent travel.
Yeah, like, it seemed like it was in one specific location. Mulan knew where it was, but there weren't very many left. Not like, you know, she was extracting the flowers and could have saved seeds to continue to grow them and repopulate the poppies. Repopulate?
Yeah, gotcha.
Yes, repopulate. I just love Jake's sigh at that.
He's not even looking at the camera. He's like so done with you right now.
He's had it.
I am not. I'm just not. I'm quitting.
And then, so on the other side of the coin here, we have Henry waking up. He ended up getting severely burned when Aurora got ripped out. So David decides he's going to go under a sleeping curse instead.
And thus begins the many characters who have fallen under this curse that's so common nowadays.
Like,
Mhm.
it's an Oprah thing, you know. You can have a sleeping curse, and you can have.
You can have a sleeping curse. And hey, Dorothy, you're new, but you get one too.
Yeah.
You can get on screen for like 5 minutes. You get one.
But the catch with David is, since he has not gone to the sleeping realm and woken up, he can't get to the specific room. He's got to find a way into the room with no doors or windows.
Mm-hmm.
So Henry gives him the flame pendant to control the flames before he goes back to sleep.
He fucking breaks it. God damn it, David.
Yeah. But he ends up finding the room, which he physically grabs a stick, physically smashes the room. Yet when he's in the room talking to Snow, apparently he's not physically there anymore.
I don't know how this works.
I feel like even though that they can see each other, they can't interact with each other because the netherworld is actually like it's a veil.
I think it's kind of like they're in their own separate rooms,
Mm-hmm.
but they can see each other. It's like Skype, but it's a little bit more extreme.
Like I said, there's like a veil where you can see the other person in their room, but you can't interact. You can hear them and see them, but you can't physically touch them because you're not physically in the same room. But you are there.
So they can both get burned by the flames,
Because they're
not there.
Yeah, like they're in their separate rooms. This is what I think. They're really there, but they're in separate rooms. But I think they are just able to see each other because these rooms are so similar, and it's basically the same room.
Well,
they can see each
explained
other,
it as
but
their soul
not
was
in the
there, not
together.
them. That's how they explained it within the episode. So I'm like, all right, if Charming fell down there with the torch or whatever, the candelabra that he was holding, and that fell into the room, Charming falls into it.
And this is why the room's on fire, Charming.
Yes. Can Charming take the candelabra and lob it at Snow and hit her with it?
I don't think so.
I don't think it works that way. I think
Because the candelabra is part of the area.
No,
and
the
Charming can
the
interact with it.
is the area, whatever how this shit works. But I think that room is a separate room. It's obviously a separate room from this red room.
Yeah, well, it's just like, okay, so say there was an object on the ground. Say there was a candelabra on the ground, and Charming is able to pick it up. Does that mean Snow is also able to pick it up?
Sure.
So they can both pick up an object, but they both can't touch each other. It's I don't know, the whole thing's weird.
I don't think she can. This is why I think they're in separate rooms.
the netherworld is
kind of like
it's layered, and they kind of overlap because they are in separate instances. Think about it as instances, as if you're playing a video game.
The way
they're
think,
overlapped.
The way I think the best way to describe it is, say you have one of those overhead projectors that you had in school, right? With the transparency slides. So Charming and Snow are each their own separate transparent sheet. Mm-hmm. With the dry erase markers that you can color on, whatever that your teachers always use to project onto the board. Well, they're on their own sheet, so they can overlap and you can see each other. You just can't.
Or think of it like layers on Photoshop.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my best guess.
I mean, I think if you were to ask Adam and Eddie, they would say there's a veil there, or something like that. It's like a dimension overlap or whatever. Who knows? It's just they never explain.
It's magic, you guys. It's magic.
Yeah, magic. The word magic explains it all.
Curse. We're up to the 5th curse on the show, right?
Oh, it's not even the 5th curse. Do you want to count them? We can.
Yeah, I do.
mean, it depends on which curse you're talking about.
Dark curse number 1.
This was the
sleeping curse
the one
number
that was
1.
Broke. No, I'm not sleeping curses. I'm talking about actual The curse that envelops the whole town curse.
Okay, well,
We're
dark
at the
curse,
5, I think,
number
right?
1. Then
No.
new curse that prevents people from leaving. Then there was new dark curse, and then there was another curse that was going to destroy the whole town, and then that's why Emma had to leave with Henry, and they had to go to New York. Then another
Not up to that
new
point
curse
yet, are we?
that was still going to destroy the town, and this was when the two people who wanted to destroy magic were destroying magic, but then they had to do a magic stalemate thing that would have destroyed all magic, and then there was
So
another curse. That
We're
was
talking
Elsa's
about
curse.
all the curses up to end of season 6, or are we just talking up to now? Because
We're
up
talking
to
about
now,
how many curses as of right now, because there's so many. We're up to 6 curses right now, you guys. Then there was a curse upon the town after the ice wall came down that prevented Corella and Ursula from getting in, but then they could get in, so that's curse number 7. And then there was another curse.
According to the wiki, there's only 5.
Well, they got it wrong.
There's the first curse cast by the Evil Queen. There's Pan's curse, manifests as a green storm cloud with lightning that spread rapidly through Storybrooke, being overwritten by Regina to undo her curse and return everyone to the Enchanted Forest. Gained a light purple color with lightning that spread gently through the remainder of Storybrooke. The second curse, so this is not the same one as Pan's curse, so whatever. The second curse was cast by Snow White, manifested with the same appearance as the first curse. The green shades and lightning were a result of Zelena altering the curse to erase memories through a forgetting potion. Unlike the first curse, the curse spread through the Enchanted Forest. Spread gently through the Enchanted Forest. The third curse was cast by Hook, manifested as a light purple cloud with gold lightning. The gold lightning was the result of Emma altering the curse to erase memories through the use of a dream catcher. And then there was the fourth curse, cast by the Black Fairy, manifested tendrils of dense black smoke with hints of dark fairy dust sparkle.
They are missing some curses, right?
yeah.
I don't think so. Those are the only ones I remember.
There was Ingrid's curse. Then
Ingrid
was...
didn't have a curse. She just put a boundary on the town.
It was a curse.
That was a boundary spell.
It was
Well,
a...
what do you call the shards of glass spell? Is that not?
That's a curse too.
Yeah,
There you
and I feel like Rumple bringing magic back to Storybrooke is kind of a curse as well.
I don't know. I
It
don't think so.
borders. It borders. But I mean,
The
yeah,
curses,
I guess,
curses.
And then apparently the
mention-
fifth curse, which we haven't seen yet, but that is supposedly what makes Henry and everybody forget who they are next season. But we haven't seen that yet, so we can't really count that.
Mm.
So, but yeah. Anyway, so David ends up finding Snow. They try to kiss. They can't. Whatever, because they're not really there.
Well, who thought this was a good idea?
Pretty much only David.
I mean, Snow thought it was a good idea too, right?
Well,
at
then
that
that's why it
moment.
wasn't going to work.
So meanwhile, after that goes on, we have Cora talking to Aurora. This is where we get the first mention that Philip's soul can be recovered. Does not get to go into detail with her, but this is definitely what sets her on her quest to go find Philip's soul. Which I believe she tells Mulan in the next episode, so not this one. And that's kind of the last we hear of them for a little bit. But then we end this episode with Hook freeing Aurora, removing her heart and giving it to Cora. And I remember, I specifically remember now at this point, when I was watching the show, I was having a big discussion with one of my friends, Brian. And my friend Brian was actually the one that talked me into giving the show a second chance, because I stopped watching in season 1. We went over this last rewind. I stopped watching when we made a big deal out of what was in the mines, and then we stepped away from the mines for 5 to 6 episodes. And
Right.
I was really, really aggravated, and I wanted nothing to do with it, and I just stopped. And he urged me, no, he's like, go, continue watching. That's what set me on this. Okay, I have to always watch the entirety of a season before I condemn a show, because they did turn it around. But I remember having a big discussion with my friend Brian here, where he's like, how the hell does Hook rip out someone's heart? Like, that there's no way he should be able to do that. And I said, there's a lot we don't know about this show. We have to just wait and find out. I remember specifically saying that to him. And then the very next week, we find out exactly. And I just remember going, see? And I had this huge grin on my face, and I know he just wanted to deck me. You know, so.
He should have.
Rude.
Maybe we wouldn't have got the Peter Pan theory, and a lot of us would be very, very happy at this point.
Captain Cook. Yeah. Captain Cook makes grilled cheese sandwiches.
No, he makes pancakes. Remember that episode where they were making pancakes in the kitchen and Snow just burst through the door and they're like...
And there was an episode where he threw away Henry's Pop-Tarts, and you don't throw away kids' Pop-Tarts. And he said he was going to make them. He was going to make them some weird, piratey, old-timey food the kind of food that you bake it, but then you like put it in the ground for 3 years, and then you dig it back up, like that kind of shit. Should have his own cooking show.
No. So. Yeah. Anyway, we have this episode, The Queen of Hearts, where in flashbacks we see Hook going to what we believe is rescue Belle, breaks into the Queen's tower, sticks his hook in some dude's neck, and then tells Belle he's going to rescue her, but he's very demanding, wants to know, how do I kill Rumpelstiltskin? He's looking for all these details. When she said she doesn't know, Hook just knocks her out. And it's just like, I have no use for you. I was like, wow.
He was gonna kill her.
Yeah, he was.
He wasn't.
I think he was.
I don't think he doesn't need to kill. He didn't have to kill her, and I don't think Hook is one to kill people.
Regina had to stop him.
Yeah.
Jake, duck down real quick. Alex asks, is there any Lost references? And there was only one between the span of both episodes, and that was actually in this episode, The Queen of Hearts, where one of the times that we see Dopey, he's wearing a Geronimo Jackson t-shirt. He loves to wear that t-shirt, so yeah, Geronimo Jackson was a fictional band in Lost, so anyway.
Is that the only one?
That is the only one between the two episodes, yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. Usually there's like a couple, like even small references per episode.
Only ones that I noticed anyway. Like I could be missing some, but I tend to pay close attention. So I don't know. But this is when the Evil Queen recruits Hook. Oh my god! What the hell is that awful noise? That is terrible.
It's okay, Jake. You can come back now.
Or take a nap. Sorry.
So the Evil Queen recruits Hook, tells him she plans on casting a curse, one where he could kill Rumpel without magic. And all he has to do to achieve this is to kill Cora. So she prepares him with Jefferson's hat, presents him the body of Claude, her guard that Hook killed, and explains the rules of the hat: to enter, to come back. Sends him off to Wonderland, where he confronts the Queen of Hearts and asks about Cora. This is where we find out definitively that they are one and the same. Hook has his hook enchanted by Regina to be able to remove a heart, and it is one heart and only one heart. So he sticks his hook through her chest, tries to take her heart out, but
it's not there.
Cora's not having any of this. She does not keep her heart where everyone else keeps it.
Which is super duper clever.
It is. It's really clever. It does
Because
not mean that Korra put her
no.
heart in her ass or anything like that. It is
No.
not in her
might
body.
have. She could have.
She could have, but it's not in her body. Because we later learn that this is why, I don't remember if it was this season or next season, that when Regina finds out that she doesn't have her heart, that this is why they never had a good relationship, and they were never like able to bond or anything like that. It's because Korra literally removed her heart because she saw it as weakness.
Either
Yep.
that or she's just a cold-hearted bitch.
She's not had her heart for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
So it's been longer than...
It was longer. It was before she was banished to Wonderland.
Yes.
It was before Regina was going to get married to the king.
It was before Regina was born.
Yeah, it was.
Wouldn't go
It was
that far.
probably when... no. It was probably around the time she had Selena. After she got...
I thought she removed it because of Regina.
She removed it because of Rumple. Rumple was teaching her how to do magic, and then she was learning how to use magic so she could turn strong to gold for Snow's dad to marry him. She started having feelings for Rumple, which was gross. And she said, that's when she started learning that love is weakness. So what was supposed to happen was she was supposed to take the heart of the king's betrothed. She took out her own heart.
Mm-hmm.
Then she told Rumple, so I took out my heart because I started loving you, but now I don't,
Yes,
so bye.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Months later is when Korra gave birth to Regina. Yep. So this is where Korra essentially makes a deal with Hook, because she could have taken his heart, but she realized Regina of all people is going to know that Hook's being controlled by Korra. So Hook has to do it on his own free will. So she explains exactly how Regina's curse works, and the fact that Rumple going back, Storybrooke, with Regina, he's not going to remember who he is, so he's not going to have his vengeance. That's what I'm saying. Hook's not going to remember who he is, so he's not going to have his vengeance. He's not going to know to kill Rumple. He's not going to be able to get enjoyment out of it. So Korra's deal seems better to him. She will allow him to remember the curse. And all Hook has to do is take her to Regina. So Hook basically doesn't have to veer from what his plan was. He just doesn't have to kill Korra. So this is when Hook brings Korra back to Regina. Regina puts her in her vault. And kind of says goodbye to her mother and explains that over her corpse that love is weakness. That's the one thing that she taught her. And she loves her mother. And she can't afford to have a weakness in this new land. So Korra, who was supposed to grab Regina's heart and kill her or whatever at that moment, decided against it. Realized the curse was coming and had to make arrangements for it. So her and Hook run off to a little section of the Enchanted Forest, which is the island, the Crescent Moon Island thing that we've seen, from the very first episode here.
Yep.
And this is where we learn exactly what happened in the Enchanted Forest and why that section is frozen in time and how that all came to be.
Yep.
And Hook starts freaking out that it's going to take 28 years to get what he wants, but Korra's just like, you're not going to remember this, you're going to be frozen in time. It's going to be like moments happened, moments passed. So I remember really, really liking this episode because we got to find out a lot. We found out how Hook got the ability to rip the heart out. We found out what was going on with Korra in Wonderland when she went through the mirror or the looking glass. And then, we found out exactly why the Enchanted Forest had that one section that didn't fall victim to the curse. Something that no one knew about that was in that area. And it just so happened that Mulan, Aurora, and, Philip were in that section that got cordoned off. So...
I feel that Korra doing this particular action by saving this part of the Enchanted Forest saved all of the Enchanted Forest, because it seemed like Regina's aim for the curse was to basically get rid of the Enchanted Forest and just put everything into Storybrooke and make it so that the Enchanted Forest didn't exist anymore.
I don't know,
I
because
mean,
she went off to spout that all the worlds were destroyed with the curse, including the one that Victor Frankenstein came from, and et cetera, which we learn is not the case. And I don't know, like, I don't think the Korra had anything to do with saving the Enchanted Forest. I think it was just protecting the people in that area, and it's not like she was intending on protecting anyone but herself and technically Hook, but mainly herself. It just so happened everybody in that area.
She kept a bit of the Enchanted Forest alive.
She needs that. It can't just be her and Hook by herself, because there would just be a giant empty land with them, and they have no resources. They need certain people.
Yeah.
They need the giant.
Mm-hmm.
They needed, dead village people to do their bidding.
Yeah. Well, I think it was only the point of the bubble to protect them was nothing more than to keep them from getting swept away to the land without magic.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand if her intention was to go to the land, why she didn't just go to the land with everyone.
Because there was no way to protect her memories that way. Like, she didn't have enough time to think something up.
Right, but she knew the curse was going to get broken at some point, and they were going to get frozen until the curse was broken, so the same amount of time would have went by regardless.
I don't know. Maybe she felt that staying in the Enchanted Forest would give her time to better prepare under everybody's noses.
Would she have magic?
Yeah, she has magic in the Enchanted Forest.
She would probably still have magic when Rumple brought magic back to the town.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Regina didn't have her magic. Rumple was the only one who had it. She had to, relearn it.
Right.
Exactly. I feel like...
But that's the properties of the world, not a result of the curse.
But nobody knew how magic works in this world. Only Rumple knew.
Right, but I'm saying that shouldn't affect Korra. When Korra gets there, she should have the exact same problems Regina had.
Well, exactly, and Regina wouldn't have had the magic.
No, even coming from outside there. The properties of the world don't change regardless of how you got there.
No, but Regina didn't have magic for 28 years, and then magic came back. There was no magic, and she wasn't exercised in it. Like, she hadn't had any practice for 28 years because it wasn't available. Whereas Korra is coming from a land where she's had magic this whole friggin' time. Yes,
except she hasn't used it in 28 years.
Yeah.
But magic works the same 28 years later. It doesn't work the same in this world.
No. She's had, this year and a half to, bring back, they just got magic back in Storybrooke this season, whereas, the curse has been broken in both places for a very long time. So she's had time to work her magic back. So now coming to Storybrooke, she's a little bit more, practiced, and she has a little bit more of a stronghold. Like, just, she's like, she has a little bit more, foundation, because she's still had magic for a year and a half or so.
And who's to say people are not going to kill her as soon as that curse is broken when she's there?
Yeah, I know who
things
you
that
are,
I don't understand, about everything, like the fact that Regina has enemies, and I don't know why she kept them alive when they were cursed.
Because she wants to see them suffer.
The whole point was, to see certain people be tortured throughout the whole... Because she had her memories.
She had no interest in Rumple being tortured. She could have just killed him.
No.
It was mostly because of the pact that they had, the like him always like, he's like, what was the thing that he always kept saying to her?
Please.
Please. Like there was that bit, like he had these certain holds over Regina that she couldn't work out.
And she doesn't owe Rumple a damn thing. Well, she might, but like she doesn't feel like she does. But Rumple has certain information and certain, resources that she will need.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
Well, back in Storybrooke, we have Rumple wanting to destroy the portal to kill anyone that comes through. And we have Henry trying to talk Regina out of helping Rumple, to have faith in him, and to not kill the people that come through because he's insistent that it's going to be Emma and Snow. Back in the Enchanted Forest.
Henry.
Right. Back in the Enchanted Forest, though, we have them go on, their journey to Rumple's cell. This is where Cora forces Aurora to lead them into a trap, locking the gate behind them, so Cora can steal the compass. And they end up finding the scroll with the ink on it with Emma, 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 Emma,
Yep.
Emma, 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 Emma,
Okay.
Emma, 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 Emma written on it. It started to sound like a nonsense word at that point. But yeah, you get the idea.
What's an Emma?
I think I missed like one or two Emmas, I'm not sure. I wasn't counting.
I think you missed a good couple dozen of Emmas.
Oh, I
It's-
can keep going then. Do you want me to keep going?
I don't know. When they pulled the scroll out, they went like this, and it just kept going. So you know what? I think you missed a lot of Emmas. Just saying. But we're not gonna. Please, it's just no.
No? Okay. But this is ends up what allowed them to escape, because Snow was able to recognize that this looked like a spell that was in, spell books she's seen, Regina spell books and stuff like that. So she uses that little blowing technique on the pages to get the words to come off, which breaks the cell, which is really interesting because Rumple had the ability to free himself from the cell at any point, but because he knew how things are going to play out, because he had prior knowledge, he was right where he needed to be.
He has the powers of the Oracle up to a certain point in the timeline.
Yes.
Yes.
So he didn't have to escape. He didn't have to
No.
go anywhere. So he chose not to.
But it's interesting that they did use this squid ink to paralyze Rumple.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering where this squid ink comes from.
They did explain, I think it was last episode, that it came from a squid at the bottom of a bottomless ocean that basically only mermaids had access to.
Which
And
makes me
then Rumple
think
said-
that Ursula jizzed in a cup, and
Yeah.
that's what we got.
Well, and Rumple also said, or myself. So it sounds like Rumple knew where to look, and he got himself. He didn't hire a mermaid to do it. He physically went there.
He doesn't need to.
I don't know. I think he physically went there. We've seen him
If the
teleport
Dark One
into
can't
weird
die,
places.
do you think he can just walk underwater?
Yes,
That's probably what he did.
100%.
Yeah, he just, and then he's there.
Mm-hmm.
A little hand twist.
Yep. Yeah, so they free themselves from that. Aurora decides to stay behind because she's kind of compromised because of her heart. So they tie her up and leave her there, and Mulan's like, I'm coming back for you, whatever. In the meantime, Emma's kind of playing the blame game. I'm the savior, I haven't done anything since I broke the curse. This is all my fault. Henry, if I only believed in this and that. And then Snow's like, look, if anybody's to blame, it's me, because if I just shut my
Yes.
mouth and didn't say anything to Cora about Daniel, the curse never would have happened, Regina never would have been spiteful, none of this would have happened in the first place. So Emma basically shut up because you can't top that.
Exactly. So like the whole entire reason why we have the fucking damn problem in this show is because of snow. I'm glad you acknowledged that, sweetie.
Hey, she can admit something, I
Look
guess.
at how many people she pissed off, and that's precisely the reason why we're in these situations.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile,
Throw a baby into a portal, bitch.
Meanwhile, we have Korra and Hook go to Lake Nostos. This is like the third time in the series we've been to this lake. Last time we were here, we found out that it was completely dried out because of
Not really.
the Lady of the Lake. So Korra uses.
They just didn't dig deep enough when it came to the lake in that episode.
Korra used her magic and resurfaced a geyser full of water, which could have been a couple hundred feet under the ground.
Yeah, they just didn't dig deep enough.
Yeah, so like if you dig enough and you find some wet sand, you can get the sand and like squeeze what little water you have out of it. And that's
squeeze sand.
Yeah, you can squeeze sand.
Yeah.
Anyway, the magic water had the property to return magic to the wardrobe, or the ashes in this case. Because it returns what is lost to you, the same way the wishing well works on the other side in Storybrooke. And
you could have stolen the bean and taken the bean to the lake, but we didn't do that.
We did do that, though.
No, they did. He said, even Hook said, it's time to do some gardening because they were going to regenerate the bean.
But why didn't they do that in the first place? Hook already had the bean, so
it seemed like a plan.
Because Hook didn't know. Hook didn't know the Lake Nostos until he got there. At that point, Korra already had the ashes. He didn't know what she was doing with the ashes. He was surprised that they were going to the lake. Like when they got there, he goes, the last time I checked, lakes had water in them. Like, this is the first time he's heard of this. So, he already had the bean. Korra already had the ashes at that point. So, this is when Emma and Snow and Mulan come running in and they interrupt Korra and all this. They end up into this big fight. This is where Hook does the first honorable thing and gives Mulan Aurora's heart. Says something along the lines of, if anyone's gonna lose their heart, it's gonna be, or fall.
He's not gonna allow a lady to lose their heart.
Yeah, unless it's at his hands or something.
Yes.
Like basically, like heartbreaking. Like he broke their heart, kind of. That's the way the wordplay he used. I don't remember the exact line.
In a way of love, not actual heart being ripped out of their chest.
Because we've had experiences with that, and we don't want to revisit them.
Mm-hmm. So Mulan wants to stay and fight, but this is when Snow convinces Mulan that Aurora needs her heart. Immediately go to her. They got this. So Mulan gives her enchanted sword to Snow, which will deflect Korra's magic. Still want to know more about this sword.
I feel like it was Philip's sword.
Was it?
I guess.
That would make sense because in the original Sleeping Beauty, they gave him an enchanted sword.
Yeah, to fight off Maleficent.
Oh, we do find out about this sword.
Oh, so we do.
This sword, episode 11, The Outsider. So we're going to be getting there, actually.
Next week.
Yeah. So next week we will find out. That's the episode.
Was this the Philip and Mulan backstory episode?
It's the Yao Guai when Belle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where we get the background. Okay, now I remember that episode now. So, but yeah, I forgot that was coming up so soon. I thought that was in season 3.
So get ready for lion face hair on fire next week.
Yep.
I will find a way to do it.
Tissue paper. A lot of it.
Yeah, so we have an epic sword fight between Hook and Emma. It's actually a pretty good sword fight. I think the one between Hook and Rumple was way better, but this one was still pretty damn good.
Like, Hook, I know you're a good swordsman, but Emma fought a dragon, like, not a month ago, so...
Not only that, but, just when Hook has the upper hook, Emma knocks him out with the compass, and I just...
You know what, Emma, you
felt so satisfying for some reason.
Emma, you don't know this, but this is going to work in the future. You just got to show Hook your boobs, and it'll all be fine.
I think it would work for anybody if they were fighting Hook to just show them their boobs, and he'd be stunned for a bit, and then you'd get the upper hand, and that would be the end of Hook. I feel like at this point he's
Probably.
very, very susceptible to nudity of the female variety.
Well, back then, showing your ankles was enough, to get them to wet themselves.
Back then, as in the same timeline that we're in now. The Enchanted Forest and Storybrooke are running parallel in terms of...
It's a different culture.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. It's not back then. It's literally the same point.
Well, it
is
back then. It was 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's the way that it works is that because of the way that it has evolved, it is still a back then because it is in our history, in our past, because that's the way things were in our past. It's still like that's how we can connect ourselves to that particular storyline.
Still apply there. They didn't have penicillin in the Enchanted Forest. I don't think.
No.
I don't think in 1,200 years in the Enchanted Forest will they have penicillin.
I don't know if Frankenstein got his, if he was a little bit more.
I mean, unless they bring it back from Storybrooke and bring it back to the Enchanted Forest. It's the culture.
I feel like it would have evolved if the curse didn't happen.
They have magic. They don't need it.
Yeah, well, not everybody has magic.
Exactly.
Not all the magical people are willing to be like, I'll heal you.
Are turning into doctors. That's how that works.
Yeah. Speaking of penicillin, fun fact, I went to Disneyland. You go to Tomorrowland, there's like edible fruit there, but don't eat them. They're covered in penicillin, and I choked.
Oh. Okay. Interesting. But then we have Korra and Snow having their big epic battle. In the middle of it, or I should say the end of it, it looks like Korra's about to rip Snow's heart out. Emma jumps in the way. And apparently she has an anchor where her heart used to be because Korra can't rip it out. Korra is completely, utterly in shock. And we find out from Rumple when Emma goes to talk to Rumple later that there's magic that protects her heart because she's the product of true love. So apparently she's the first child.
I still hate this explanation.
Yeah, apparently she's the only child in the world that's, or the Enchanted Forest, I should say, that their parents were truly in love.
Yeah, because if this were the case, there are magical babies everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Emma, you're gonna have a brother. I don't know if you realize this. You don't realize it now. You don't realize it when it actually happens.
Yeah.
Your parents don't realize it either, that they had a kid.
I think there's a quota on products of true love, and the Charmings used it up on Emma. So.
But anyway, they defeat Korra, scare her off, whatever, and they go home. They jump through the portal just in time for Henry to convince Regina to eat the electricity through her fingers. It's enough to kill anybody who comes through, yet Regina could take the whole thing, basically, by herself.
I mean, it's a lot easier to whittle something down than to build it up. So.
Yes. But then at the very end, obviously, we learn that Korra and Hook use the shriveled up bean at the lake to get its magic back and come directly to Storybrooke.
And you got a ship somehow.
Somehow the Jolly Roger appears.
Mm-hmm.
It returns to what has been lost. So I guess he lost the ship at one point, and we don't know how. Someone of the many people who have stolen the ship, you probably got it back from.
Yep. And the reason they're not coming through the same portal thing, like they're not coming through the well the same way, is because they're not using the wardrobe abilities. They're using the magic bean, which literally opens a portal. Mm-hmm. It functions differently than the wardrobe did.
So I think the wardrobe takes you to a portal that is already linked between the worlds. Like the tree that Emma came out of, or the well. And I think magic beans just create a portal.
Yep.
Magic beans, it's wherever you want to go, for the most. So for Cora and for Hook, who are both using the bean, they want to go to Storybrooke because that's where they want to be the most to do what they need to do. So that's where the bean's going to take them. If they wish to be in, Victorian freaking London, where with with Wendy and stuff, that's where the bean would have taken them. But that's not how that happened.
Yep. So I think that about does it for these 2 episodes. Next episodes that we will be dealing with, episode 10 is called The Cricket Game. And this is where Regina is accused of murdering Jiminy Cricket in town.
Oh.
You guys remember that was a thing?
Yeah, that was a thing, and I honestly didn't care.
Mm-hmm. And it ends up being Cora and all that crazy stuff, whatever. And then the episode 11, as I mentioned, is called The Outsider. And this is where we get the Belle flashback where she meets Mulan. And they fight that beast. Mm-hmm.
Where we find out that Belle knows everybody.
Yeah, the Yawagwai, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
So. Yep. All right. So I think that about does it. Nikki, where can the people find you?
On Twitter at LadyVenom24, LadyVenom 24.
Excellent. Jake, where can people find you?
You can find me and all of my giggles and gore and monsters and mayhem here on YouTube at Jacob Salazar, or you can find me on Twitter. Tweet at me throughout the week, the life at Nowhereland. That is TONOWHERELAND. Join the Nowhereland Society.
I'm part of the Nowhereland Society.
Sure. Yeah. We accept you, totally.
Mm-hmm. You can find me down below. That's Phenomedom, PHENOMEDOM. And you can find us all on Facebook, Gmail, G+, Twitter, and right here on YouTube at /ASOTV podcast for some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows, games, and movies. Until next week, see you guys later.